Hi friends, we're at the market now and I'm already completely set up, so I will show you the setup in just a second. It's kind of unfortunate because there are not one but two other crochet vendors. One of them has like similar items to me, and then the other one is, I'm pretty sure, a reseller, so that is kind of annoying because she's almost like directly across from me, so that is just a little unfortunate, but we will see. I'm kind of at the beginning of the market, which I hope is a good thing, because then my booth will be the first one that people see, but we shall see all about that. So let me show you my setup now. Okay, so we have kind of the same setup as last weekend with the two crates over here, dinos on the bottom, and then the chicken up here. I printed out some new signs in kind of like my new design. I also have my new banner now. The only thing that I'm still missing are my business cards. I literally have one left and they will be delivered on Monday, which is unfortunate. So I printed out this big sign with a QR code, so hopefully that people will scan that instead of a business card, but we will see if that works. And we have the mini items right here, some of the bigger plushies like here and here, and then the towers of birds and turtles. And yeah, then we have kind of the same as last weekend with bees and cats, and then across to the side we have the candles, kind of the same way as usually. So yeah, that is what's going on. It's kind of very empty still, so we will see. It is past 11, so the market has been going on for 10 minutes and we made the first sale for a dino. It's now exactly an hour later, so it's shortly after 12. We just had the second sale, so far it has been quite slow. And we sold a mini chick with a hat. And currently I'm working on some turtles, like restocking some of the colors that I sold at the past two events. But yeah, this market should really pick up soon, hopefully. Okay, update. We just had a huge sale. We sold the giraffe, a dino, and two octos in one transaction. So that has now paid off my booth fee, and I'm feeling quite a lot better about this market now because of that. So we will see what will happen next.
Genau, da ist kein Stressball drinnen oder so, sondern der ist einfach ein bisschen fester gestopft, dass man den schön knautschen kann.
Ja.
Ja.
Die kenne ich noch nicht.
Der ist auch tatsächlich neu. Den habe ich auch selber geschrieben, die Anleitung dafür. Also habe ich mir selber ausgedacht. Und einmal 5 zurück. Da oben sitzt der kleine Kuss. Danke euch. Und schön. Vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Ich sehe so eine Lieblingsfarbe irgendwie. Braucht ihr eine Tüte dazu? Nee. Okay, dann sind ja 22 sind es bei euch. Genau. Dann einmal entweder aufhalten. Das hört sich ganz gut an. Wunderbar. Dann vielen Dank. Viel Spaß noch. Hallo. Einen Pinguin bei dir. Dankeschön. Aha, das macht natürlich total Sinn dann. Dann bekommt ihr noch 10 Euro zurück. Dankeschön. Hallo. Hallo. Genau, ja. Alles selber gemacht. Das ist wie so eine Sucht, wenn man das einmal anfängt.
Wenn man es kann.
Ja, wenn man es einmal raus hat, dann ist es eigentlich immer das Gleiche. Und inzwischen, ich nehme es überall hin mit. Also egal wo.
Oha.
Gerne. Brauchst du eine Tüte dazu? Alles klar. Vielen Dank. Schönen Sonntag noch. Genau, dann sind es.
Das heißt so hier nicht, ne? Oh, der ist der größere.
Genau, dann einmal. Das hört sich schon ganz gut an. Wunderbar. Dann vielen Dank.
Das ist halt so modern, Mensch.
Ja, man muss das aber mitnehmen. Wie oft ich das habe, dass Leute sagen, oh, ich habe jetzt gar kein Bargeld dabei und so. Das wäre etwas. Ich bin genauso.
Der
Also
Vorteil ist direkt eine Bank und deswegen, das passt schon. Aber
Vorteil und gefährlich. Ne?
ja, ich nehme den hier bitte noch.
Ja, klar.
Noch?
Gerne. Und dann sonst einmal hier zurück.
Super, danke. So, welcher war denn jetzt mein? Ja,
Einer mit dem blauen Hut, aber welches war das?
Der mit dem blauen Hut, allerdings. Die hier, meinst du sicher?
Du kannst ja nochmal alle durchgehen.
Ja, ich kann nochmal alle durchschauen, oder? Ja, hier, stresst mich nicht, ja? Grün ist auch gut, oder? Das ist dein Hut so groß, ne?
Die haben alle so ein bisschen ihren eigenen Charakter.
Der hat mehr Krämpfe und er hat dickere Lippen. Das ist, okay, ich nehme den. Dankeschön.
Dann danke euch. Ciao. Hallo. Eine Biene oder zwei Bienen? Dann sind es 16 bei euch. Kannst sie auch nochmal hinlegen, die Biene, dann kriegst du vielleicht aber ein Zählen. Wunderbar, auch so viele Münzen, das ist perfekt, weil die hat man immer zu wenig. Perfekt. Dann braucht ihr eine Tüte oder nehmt ihr die jeder in die Hand? Alles klar. Dann viel Spaß euch damit.
Okay, friends, it's now 10 after 5 and it's kind of dying down a little bit, but it was super busy throughout the afternoon, which is awesome. So I was really scared for this market in the morning, as you could probably tell, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Not quite a lot of candles, but that was to be expected with these smaller markets, but I'm still super happy. I sold a couple of them, a couple of wristlets, and then a ton of plushies. I will show you the table in just a second. We still have like a little less than an hour, but a lot of people are tearing down around me, so we will see how much longer the market will go on for me. I'm currently working on little cats since they have been selling so well. Okay friends, I'm now back from the market and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a recap of this market, give you a breakdown, some of the best sellers, and then also, of course, how much I sold and how much I made at this market. So first of all, as you could probably tell, this was another street fair. I do quite a lot of these types of markets. They are usually put on by the city. So a lot of cities and towns around me do these types of markets where just like one street is blocked off. They either do them twice a year or 4 times a year. And the one I just went at last weekend is a fair that goes on twice a year. And I've already done this fair twice before. Both of those times were last year. So I did the spring market last year and then the fall market last year. I also signed up for the spring market this year, but I ended up not going. I can link the video up here for you. There was like a little bit of an issue with a political party there that I didn't want to went next to. But this issue got solved this time, so they actually ended up banning political parties to attend this market as like, not vendors, but like as booths. So that was a big plus that they finally decided to do something like that and make it more of a market and less of a town fair. So that was good, I guess. The hours of the market there are actually 11 to 6, so an hour shorter than a lot of other markets that I do. But I really like this actually because usually the hours from 10 to 11 where a lot of my markets start, is like one of the slowest hour out of the whole day. So I actually appreciate getting to sleep in a little more and then vending just 7 hours instead of 8. So that was good, I think. For my booth layout, I kind of did the same thing I usually do for my outside markets, where I have my tent set up, then I have my 2 4-foot tables at the front where my plushies are at, and then to the side I have my 6-foot table with my candles on them. And I kind of do the same thing for all of my outdoor events. I finally had my new banner at this show, so I really like the new design that I chose for that. And something I was really missing at this market were business cards, so I literally had one left. I think I also showed that to you in the footage, but yeah, they ended up getting lost in the post and being delayed quite a few days, so that was unfortunate. I did have my big QR code, which a couple of people scanned. Nobody like messaged me or anything after that, but I did have a couple of favorites on my Etsy shop. Not sure if that came from the market or just like people finding me online or other crocheters finding one of my patterns online or something like that. So I don't know if that was because of the QR code, but I still wanted to have something at my booth so people could find me online after the market, even though I didn't have my business cards. So that was unfortunate. Since then, my business cards have arrived. I have them back at home, so I can't really show them to you right now. But I ended up ordering 2,000 business cards, which is kind of a lot. And I thought I did that last time, but they are quite a lot more than I had last time. So I think I must have ordered 1,000 the first time around, and they lasted me for around 1.5 years. So I think I'm kind of good on business cards for the next foreseeable future. So that is a good thing. And yeah, let's talk about the market a little bit more. I'm getting off track a little bit. So the market started out really slow. As I told you in the footage, there were like 2 other crochet vendors at this event. The one booth, like across from me, not straight across, but like kind of like to the side across from me, they were crochet resellers, which I honestly really don't appreciate. I know that these like little town fairs that I go to, they're not handmade events, so there's lots of other vendors around that don't handmake their things. But what I didn't really like about this booth was that they pretended that they handmade their things, and they pretty obviously didn't. So that is the only thing that I really don't like about this. And also like the whole buying crochet things from overseas and then reselling it is just something I don't agree with. So I didn't really like that. I think in the end it hit them worse than me, because they were like almost across from me. When people saw their booth and then mine, it was pretty obvious that I actually hand make my things, because like first of all, you can kind of tell from like the plushies, and then also I was of course crocheting the whole day as I usually do, and they didn't. So that was kind of like obvious, and I think it worked out fine for me in the end. And then I also had another crocheter at this event, but she was like at the other end of the market, which was pretty good. So I think that we both made pretty good sales at this market, even though there were 2 of us. I know that I'm very lucky in that regard, that I don't have other crocheters at every single market that I do. So this is kind of a new thing for me, but I'm still happy with my sales from this day. So I think it ended up working out fine. And yeah, let's get into some of the numbers for this market, I guess. I kind of told you everything that I wanted to tell you apart from the numbers. So let's get straight into that. So I ended up having 55 orders on that market day. So that was pretty good. For the first 2 hours, I was pretty scared. I think I kind of took you along for that pretty well. I only had 2 sales in the first 2 hours, and I was kind of scared for the rest of the market. But then after that, it ended up picking up, and yeah, in the end, we had 55 orders, and I sold a total of 67 items, which is pretty good. I sold quite a lot of plushies and not a ton of my other types of items. So I ended up selling 4 of my wristlets, which is actually pretty good for wristlets. I usually sell like around 3 to 5 at every event. So 4 is like right in the middle, where they usually are. And I sell my wristlets for 8 euros each. So I ended up making a total of 32 euros from my wristlets. I sold 6 candles at this event, and one of my candles actually fell down from the table and broke, so that I can't sell anymore. That has actually never happened before, so this was the first time that I ended up making a loss in that regard. But like, yeah, it just ended up being very unfortunate because it fell off of the table and then onto the concrete like floor. So that happened. I will give this candle to my mom so somebody can still get a use out of that. But yeah, I sold 6 candles for a total of 88 euros, which is still pretty good. That alone paid for more than my booth fee. The booth fee for this event was 55 euros, which is like pretty cheap for a market overall, but for these town fair markets that I do, it's actually kind of a lot. The other street fair that I do is less than half of that, so I think this is kind of expensive for like a town fair like that, but still it's a pretty low booth fee, so I'm not complaining about that. And yeah, my candles covered all of that, so that is always awesome. And it feels like a bigger profit overall for me personally. And then my biggest seller at this event were, of course, my plushies. So I sold 57 plushies. And yeah, I sold them for a total of 589 euros, which means overall at this event, I ended up making 709 euros, which is so good. I always want to make at least 10 times my booth fee, and that ended up happening at this market. So, of course, that is a very good market in my books, and I can't really complain about anything like that. I'm actually super happy with how this event went. And yeah, I also wanted to give you my bestsellers from this market. So I actually have 6 bestsellers because number 5 is a shared spot. So in number 5, we have my turtles. I sold 5 of them for 16 euros each. And then also in number 5, I guess, are my little penguins that I made just last week. I brought them to my market for the first time in like a year. I haven't made them in a very long time. And I ended up prepping 5 of them in last week's video. And I ended up selling completely out of them. So they were such a good seller. And I will definitely make more of them for my upcoming winter markets because I think like penguins are like a perfect little winter plushie. And having them in a mini size that I can sell for 6 euros each is like perfect. And I should probably prep quite a lot of those. So I ended up selling all of them for 6 euros each. And then like number 3, I guess, of my bestsellers is also a shared spot. So I ended up selling 6 of each of those types of items. So first of all, I sold 6 of my mini chicks with hats, and they're another type of my mini plushies. So they're always kind of popular and in one of the top spots. And I sell them for 6 euros each. And then the other type of plushie that I sold 6 of were my penguins, so the regular size penguin, which I sell for 10 euros each. And I actually only have 1 penguin left in the regular colors and then a couple in the blue because I prepped quite a lot of them for this market. But yeah, I definitely need to make so many of those because they were crazy popular at last year's winter markets. So that is definitely something that I will be focusing on in the near future. And then in number 2, I sold 7 of my cats, and they were such a hit. They are usually one of my best sellers as well. And yeah, selling 7 of them is kind of crazy. So I sold all of them for 14 euros each, and I definitely need to prep quite a lot of those as well, especially like the spotted cats and like the calico looking kitties. I need to prep. I have a couple cats left over, but they're all in either one color or like my regular cat pattern with like a white belly patch. So I definitely need to prep some other fur patterns as well. And then my number 1 bestseller, and this honestly doesn't surprise me, it's one of my bestsellers every single time, were my baby octos. I sold 8 of those for 6 euros each. And yeah, they're always popular. I always need to prep more of them. I always make them in lots of different colors, and that is exactly the plan that I have for them in the near future as well. So yeah, that was everything that happened at this market, everything I sold, my profit, all of that. And at the end of these market videos, I always like to answer the question if I would go back to this market. And of course I would. This is a pretty good market for me, pretty low effort. It's kind of close to my house, so it's a low effort and pretty high reward market. So I will definitely go back to this one. I'm not sure if I can do the spring show next year because I think I might already have a market planned for that, which is kind of crazy to think about because yeah, I still have so many Christmas markets and I'm already thinking about spring shows, but we will see. I would definitely go back to this one. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me to my final fall market of 2025. I now have 2 weekends off, and then we have the crazy winter market madness that will be happening this year on this channel. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys again next week for another video. So until then, bye!